All right, this is the Big Douglas Show. He's the rapper Big Pooh. And today we double dipped from the urban sports scene. Wale and Ray are with us. Fellas, what's happening?
Good. Pleasure to be on, man. Pleasure to be on. What's going on?
We're excited to have you guys.
Yeah.
Athletes are in town. That's the new look. I'm excited, baby. Defense wins championships, Big Doug. Just remember
that. I'm with you. Who get us started? What you got on your list there?
All right, we got the RAS scores, the relative athletic score. Yes, I just found out what that meant. For the Washington football team, 2021 draft picks, and first up is Jalen Davis out of Kentucky, linebacker, who has a RAS score of 9.94, and I'm assuming 10 is the highest you can go. So
10 is the highest.
10 is the highest. So we have this speed demon, this tackling machine, as we was alluding to before the recording started, an actual athlete at linebacker. Fellas, are you excited about this pick?
I'm gonna let you go first because I don't want to be the homer. I'm the homer of the show, of the urban sports thing. So
well, see, I just want to say I was the only person on our show to predict that Washington will make the playoffs last season. So
that's facts. Okay, you know what, you got me.
But you know what? I'm definitely not a homer. But again, athleticism. I think that was the theme of this draft for Washington football. He's raw. Obviously, he has all the tools. Only 1 year starting, so I think it's going to take some time for him to develop. But it's a big change. It's a big change from what we've seen over the course of the last several years. So good first pick, and also you went with a position of need. Mm-hmm. You didn't try to make a sexy pick because I think Tony was tempting sitting there, the receiver from Florida, if you're looking to put points on the board, but you made the right choice and drafted a linebacker.
No, I agree with Ray in this aspect that they definitely got somebody that fit what they needed to do. They needed speed in that linebacker unit, especially to match up with that defensive front. Like you can't have guys, ballers like Ioannidis, Payne, Allen, Sweat, Chase. You know what I mean? With that type of speed, even in your front four, you need somebody to match with that. So now you got a guy who can run sideline to sideline. And what I do like is I like a guy who tests well. And he tests well in terms of some of his athletic attributes, right? But also for even that 1 year, I mean, he balled out. Like that's one thing I like to see. I like dudes who play high on Saturdays, and then you can match that up to what they can do running the 40 time or verticals or whatnot. I mean, the dude had over 100 tackles. Dude had 3 picks, so it tells me he's good. He's in there in coverage. He's a playmaker. That's just something this defense needs in that level to match up with Chase Young and Montez Sweat. Now you got speed. Like you really have a fast defense.
Tons of speed.
Yes.
I think when you count Will Jackson, I was thinking about this. Mm-hmm. Right? You got Will Jackson runs 4.39. Chase refused to run, but everybody at Ohio State tells you he's at a 4.4 or under.
Yeah.
Sweat's at a 4.4 and under. Jammin's at a 4.5, I think is what
4.3. Yeah, like a 4.3.
Yeah. And then we'll get to him later, but that safety that we'll talk about later is a sub 4.4 guy. Mm-hmm. So speed everywhere. And I don't know what Holcomb ran, but he was a 4.5.
Yeah, he's like 4.4, 4.5. He was fast too. Yeah. He was pretty fast. So I just think that you match up perfectly, and especially in the linebacker situation now. What's going to happen with the third linebacker was what people would want to know about. Will Landon Collins move to that position? Will they just, get somebody else or maybe have it in-house? But speed-wise, in that second unit of that front seven, I think to me, it's something this team desperately needed for years, and they finally got it.
Yeah, I think playing to their strengths, they'll be in a lot of 4-2-5 again this year. Mm-hmm. So Landon Collins and Cameron Curl can both be on the field at the same time because that'll probably be their best lineup for what they have. Mm-hmm. All right, well, let's go to pick 2. Samuel Cosmi, offensive tackle, Texas. He actually has a RAS score of 9.99.
That's number 2. That is number 2 for tackles since they started charting RAS, 20 years ago it was.
Wow.
Freak athlete.
Fellas, what do y'all think of Mr. Samuel Cosmi?
I wanted another pick. I won't lie. I did want another pick. I think he's talented. My question is that with the second pick, the second round pick, usually typically you're looking at a starter, and he could possibly be the starter, but a lot of things have to happen. He's going to probably have to be. I thought that the team likes Sadiq Charles a lot. So Sadiq Charles is a left tackle. Now they're going to probably compete. If you're going to keep, so my thing is you're going to keep, say, Brandon Sheriff, which I expect them to keep Brandon Sheriff, regardless of what the reports are. You got him at guard. You just got Eric Flowers, so I'm guessing he'll be the other guard. Barring again, maybe they have competition. Maybe he doesn't get the position. Then you have left tackle. And that's a competitive situation between, again, Sadiq Charles, and now you're going to have Cosmi out of Texas. So say Sadiq Charles beats him out. Now my second round pick is a backup, which I'm not really cool with, but I get the talent because I know potentially next season, the year after, he'll probably replace Morgan Moses. Let's just keep that 100. Let's keep that a buck. He will probably replace Morgan Moses. So there's a lot going on. But in terms of the talent, like you all have spoken, I think the dude is talented. He's a guy that, to me, has the potential to be a left-right tackle. He has that skill set. So it's a good signing in terms of talent. I'm just interested to see how it works out for next season.
Why are we looking at immediate impact already?
I'm an impact person. I'm an impact player. I like it off the bat, bro.
Look at the past several seasons. You've had your most significant injuries up front on the offensive line. And that's crazy for a team that really struggled offensively. So I'm thinking that this is a good look, especially for the running game. Last season, was the running game good in y'all's opinion? You can nod your head, whatever, but they averaged a little over 4 yards a carry. And you look at a guy who, that's, to me at least from watching him, that's his strength in Cosmi, that he can push defensive linemen down the field. And that's what they need. And you clearly have two good backs in Gibson and McKissick who can catch out the backfield. I think it's dope, man. That screen game is going to be sick. And also, again, you have depth now. So if somebody gets hurt, it won't be panic mode.
Yeah, I definitely think Cosmi was picked not just to compete on the left side, but to also, as you were saying, replace Morgan as a replacement for Morgan Moses in the near future. And to provide flexibility because they like Sadiq Charles they don't know if he's going to pan out at tackle or guard.
Mm-hmm.
So, they load them up, let them fall where they're going to fall.
Mm-hmm.
PFF had an 88% pass rate grade on him the last 3 years in a row.
His Madden score is amazing. It's amazing.
Well, that's good. and I do think between him and Charles too, you're looking at swing tackle.
Yeah.
Because although they did add a tight end, I just don't see them running a whole ton of two tight end looks, which means maybe more swing tackle, athletic swing tackle.
All right, here we go. Third round. Benjamin St. Just, cornerback, Minnesota. He's a tall fella.
He's tall.
Lanky.
RAS score of 8.13. What y'all say about Mr. St. Just, fellas?
Well, you can go first.
Man, this is the most difficult pick for me outside of Cheeseman. I know we're gonna get there, but he's long. Obviously, he can defend. But again, we're talking about, the way that this football team drafted. You're looking at athletes. I'm not sure if he necessarily fits that mold, and I don't know if you want to take him so high. I think you could have probably waited to get him. But the Big Ten is known, right, for producing stellar defensive backs.
You being
a Michigan guy, right?
Ohio State does. I'm not gonna lie to you. He went to Michigan. He did go to Michigan. And had issues in Michigan. So I'm just gonna let that be known.
I'm just saying, I'm going off the history, just like we knocked Ohio State quarterbacks for the history. We're gonna go on the history on this one.
Oh, I agree.
We'll give him the benefit of the doubt, but interesting pick, and considering you end up getting somebody like Forrest later on, I don't know. It's going to be a wait and see type of approach. You know what I mean?
I think people think they drafted him to go to safety, and I don't think that's the case at all. I think that's a 6'3" corner that can play the boundary with 80-inch wingspan.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So he doesn't have to start at all. But imagine that guy and think about the corners that Ron has drafted before, the Normans and the Bradburys, long darn guys. He doesn't have to start this year. And then imagine if he can start in 2 years and then you're able to kick 39 inside. Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
Again, they draft off traits. And they stick to it. Long arm, tall, rangy guys. But I don't think he's going to safety like some people think.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be a safety either. But I just don't. I'm not a fan. Again, I don't like the injury concerns because he had that in Michigan, so that bothers me too. He's not. I think you could have waited out later to get somebody to get him. But like you said, though, they are drafting off of a particular kind of measurement to what they think that's going to fit this defense. He does have. When you look at him. And you look at it and you think of a cornerback, you think, oh, he fits the part, right? We've seen guys like in Seattle with the way Seattle has drafted cornerbacks like Richard Sherman and company. So he does fit the part where, want to play in terms of like zone coverage, 2 deep, he fits that, right? If he jams, plays physical, uses his physical attributes, he can fit that type of skill, that type of defense. The thing is that will he be skilled enough to do it? Like you said, I don't expect him to start. To be that type of guy to play ASAP, but he can learn. I can see him play special teams a lot, obviously, and build that way. But and at the third, I wasn't excited about it, but in terms of look, I got it. Like I got what they were trying to do.
Yeah, I think he's going to be one of them picks, like you said, that go on special teams initially, putting Jimmy Moreland on notice that you may not be on this team next season. Because if they put him on the boundary and kick Fuller to the inside, and obviously you have William Jackson on the other boundary. So, it's going to be interesting what they do there. I was shocked by that pick as well. I thought they would go in another direction.
But it's also about what Coach Rivera stated though. It's competition, but I do think it's intelligent competition. That's how I deem it. You're not getting a guy that say you could have gotten somebody else that was highly touted. And then you automatically think that this person can replace like a Jimmy Moreland, to your point, right? But you're getting the guy who's talented enough to breed competition. Now people aren't in their feelings, right? You just think, oh, it's just competition. So I do like the culture he's bringing. He is bringing in competition, even back to the thought process of bringing in Cosmi with Sadiq Charles. It's still competition because basically it's like, okay, you two young dudes, you're gonna battle it out. And what's going to happen is because you guys you're fighting for it so hard, it's going to make you better players. So same thing applies here. It's going to make Jimmy a better player. If folks have peeped Jimmy, he's a motivated young man. So this is just going to make him better, and it should make the young boy better too out of Minnesota. So,
and 17 games a year, depth is going to be more important this year than ever before.
Yeah, this feels like Ron is bringing back a college atmosphere, like a Nick Saban type atmosphere where everybody is no spot is guaranteed unless your name is Chase Young or Terry McLaurin.
That's what Coach Gibbs used to do.
Absolutely.
The same thing.
Absolutely. This is probably my favorite
pick too.
Coming up. Round 4, Dax, I don't even know how to pronounce his name. Dax Brown, wide receiver, North Carolina. I didn't realize he was actually 6'1".
Speed.
8.38.
And played the boundary at North Carolina.
Absolutely.
That was a boundary receiver at North Carolina.
This is I'm actually go first on this one. I was excited about this pick. I watched a few North Carolina games, UNC games, and this is now because he's not a refined route runner, he still enables you to put him out there to run the flies, to run the deep posts, to run up the seam, to give you the action that you don't necessarily have with a tight end at this point. Take the top off the defense to allow Terry McLaurin to work his magic, who's still fast underneath, and then Curtis Samuels to run the gadget play. So I'm very, very excited for what Mr. Brown is going to do. And then you have Fitzmagic, whoever shows up, who will put the ball in the air. No more check down. No more check down Charlies. We got it's the ball is going up. Now we don't know who it's going to, but it's going up.
And to your point, Pooh, that's a whole lot of speed this season. Again, talk about the speed. Everybody's under 4.4.
Yes.
Cam Sims will be the only guy that makes this team next year, right? That runs over a 4.40.
Does Gandy Golden run?
I don't think.
He ran a 4.5. He ran 4.5.
I didn't think he was fast. I didn't think.
He's fast.
I don't think he's going to make the roster.
Oh, he's making the roster.
He's going to make the roster. He's going to make the roster.
He's going to make the roster. I'll take all that action.
Yeah.
Potential. It's because of potential. But really, this is a different discussion. This Scott Turner, I'm concerned about still. The jury is out. All this speed we talking about, he better get it done. You better get it done this season.
I'm not even.
Go ahead, Pooh.
Yeah, I'm not even mad at Scott Turner. Like after watching, because I got to watch a couple of games again, and I think that now he isn't his pops yet. I'm gonna put that out there. But I think he has more to be seen. It's just that his quarterback play last year kind of limited what he was able to do. Because remember, Haskins. Exactly. Haskins started 4 games or something like that, came in for another game or two. And then Alex Smith, checked down Charlie, wasn't the Alex Smith pre-injury, obviously. So he had to, kind of modify. And then Kyle Allen, I don't really know where he is and why Ron Rivera loves him so much. So I'm
with you.
This season is the season I'm really going to judge Scott Turner. He has a quarterback that can push the ball down the field. Yeah. He has weapons. The offensive line is going to be solid. And this is year 2 of Antonio Gibson playing running back full time. You don't get it done this season, I'm with you.
I'm with you about.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
So I'm not on the Scott Turner bandwagon. If you follow me on Twitter, your folks already know about me. About that, but I will say, like, there was some improvement. He's still relatively young and calling plays too. Like you said, there were some games where he did a good job. I'm not going to act like he was all negative, but it was all negative with him. But back to the receiver, there's a lot of speed that, like you mentioned, on that football field within the wide receiver corps. But most importantly about Brown is that. Again, I mentioned it before. I like dudes who produce. And Saturdays, he was giving you 1,000 yards every season, and that tells me something. You're not playing in a small, in a small division. Small conference or whatnot. You're playing one of the big conferences in the country in the ACC, and you're putting up again 1,000 yards. I think for 3 years, 1,000 yards. Yeah. So he has been productive. He's done it at a high level. Now you're bringing that here with this young unit of wide receivers. I think he's going to make Terry better. He's going to make. He's going to allow Samuels to actually play his role. I'm personally was fearful he was going to be this outside wide receiver. I think now you can utilize him the way you need to utilize him. Like this now lines everything perfectly. And then you just draft on depth. You can play the Humphreys as a possession receiver. There's just so much you can do. And to your point too about Fitzmagic, like he's going to make Brown better. And he's gonna make Terry better, but just because you're gonna air it out, receivers they like when you give an opportunity to make plays, regardless if that quarterback is throwing picks. They do like that opportunity, they like that chance. So he's gonna give Brown the opportunity to make big plays. I love this pick. I thought this pick was probably their second best pick. It was, I think, Jamin was the man, and this is the second best pick. So I think this is the pick to me where we talked about Scary Terry. This is what we're talking. Like we're going to be talking about Brown in that type of fashion, in my opinion.
The fan base, I think, is where you guys are at as far as offensive coordinator goes. I will say, and Pooh knows this, we talked to the national guys. They feel differently. The national guys seem to be higher on what he can be and reminded us all the time about the quarterback situation. And that time, Pooh, you kind of brought this up too. Antonio Gibson, we watched him. He didn't see the hole perfectly. And that's because he didn't have a ton of snaps playing running back a whole nother offseason. Really ought to do wonders for him. And again, McKissick ought to be running back 2. And then I think we're getting ready to get to running back 3 here in a little bit.
Well, we have I understand this pick after reading Emory Hunt's draft guide, but people hated this pick here. John Bates, tight end, Boise State, who has a horrible RAS score of 6.79.
What did Pooh, real quick, what did Emory say?
He is going to be a inline tight end. I think people was expecting, because Brevin Jordan, I believe, was still on the board. And I think people was expecting to get that explosive tight end that can run down the seam. He's not that guy. He's more of a blocking tight end. He's going to help you in the run game. He has good hands. He's a good possession receiver. He's not going to blow you away with his route running, anything of that nature. But I believe because they got the Sammy Reyes or whatever his name is, the guy who never played football before. Yeah. that developmental project who they probably gonna want to, you know, put on the practice squad. But I think this is one of them for the future. If they can get the experimental tight end to turn the corner, then they still have their blocking tight end, which they're sorely missing because they didn't have. So I believe it was too high.
Yes.
Absolutely.
There you go.
But I understand the pick.
That's all I needed. That's all I needed to hear. You're right. That was it right there.
Right.
Mel Kiper said there's not a tight end in the class with better hands other than Pitts, just for whatever that's worth.
They could have still got him like maybe he 6'7" and probably undrafted. Like you
probably
really
yes.
Undrafted.
Yes.
That was my issue. It wasn't the player. It was like where you got the player. I'm like, nah, you could have waited. Like you could have waited that out. You could have waited that out. Trade back if you needed to. If you were that, you know, if you really wanted him that bad, you could trade back, get that extra pick, and still could have got him down in another round. Like, just don't do it in that round. That was my thing.
Yeah, he's this is going to be, if he's not playing right away, there's going to be problems.
Yeah,
there's going to be problems because he really has no competition.
Who made this decision? This doesn't seem like a Hurney pick, right? And Martin Mayhew said we're drafted players that are going to play right away. So who did this? This is Riverboat Ron right here.
That's Ron. That's Ron.
This choice.
He's looking for. I text Doug soon as I saw the pick. I said he's looking for another Greg Olsen. That's but a diamond in the rough version, obviously.
Oh, okay.
He's you know, he's not Greg Olsen. Diamond in the rough. Somebody to sneak up on you and be like, oh, okay, I see what he was doing there. I don't know how that's going to turn out, but he is more of an inline tight end than the exciting boundary tight end that I believe everybody was expecting. Here we go. 5th round, Derek Forrest, free safety, Cincinnati. He has a RAS score of 9.69. What we got to say about Mr. Forrest, fellas?
Oh, I liked it. Oh, I like the pick. I mean, again, it's like value. When I looked at him, I was thinking Cam Curl. Like my mind was like Cam Curl. That's all I was like. I was thinking Cam Curl. I was like, you know what? This is a player that, if given the opportunity, one, I think he will. I mean, playing preseason, you'll get to see what he can do because we'll have preseason to a certain extent. So when he gets to getting the opportunity to do some of that, being exposed and we'll get to see his skill set. And if he gets the opportunity to play with that front seven, I think he can show out. I mean, I'm a fan of Reeves too. So I think Reeves deserves an opportunity to be the starting safety for the Washington football team. But I think this is a kid that if he gets the chance, he may get that slot.
Ooh, I'm a college hoops fan, and Mr. Versatility. That's how I look at him. This dude can play all over the field. He takes great angles. He hits violently, which I love. My only concern about him may be speed, but I think in terms of scheming on defense, I don't think that will hurt him as much. But the NFL game is faster. I expect that it's going to take him a little time to adjust, just like most rookies.
Quality backup for Reeves.
So quality backup for Reeves. I'm not mad at you.
Doug loves Reeves.
I love Reeves though. I love Reeves too. I'm not going to. I think he deserves an opportunity to be the starting free safety. I think a lot of people, they're like, free safety. We need a free safety, and I'm like, you know what? Like he showed when paired with Cam Curl, they were a good duo. Like they were really a good duo, and you saw the chemistry. Like you saw the chemistry.
How good is the scheme that it made DeShazer Everett look like a top end free safety? Because that stunned me last year. So must be
DeShazer played, man, was hitting. DeShazer.
That's what I'm saying. I wonder what's.
No, what it's called? It's called I'm about to be out the league and I'm desperate. That's what it's called.
I should all play with that.
I think Ron and Del Rio did an excellent job of putting players in the best position for them to succeed. And I think that was that was one of the complaints players were having prior to, is that the coaching staff was trying to make them play that wasn't to their strengths. And getting out of that 3-4 was the first thing, because they never had the players to actually be in that system. So, and then here come the favorite pick of the draft, Cameron Cheeseman.
There it is.
Long snapper, Michigan, 6th round.
Michigan, you already know.
8.37.
Hey,
and
this through the roof.
This was actually part of the run on long snappers in that round.
Hey,
apparently, long snappers was getting drafted this year.
Hey.
this is one of them picks where I'm like, come on, man. Y'all definitely could have picked him up as an undrafted. Well, maybe not because somebody else drafted a
They
long
went on a
snapper. But
run.
but this was the one that I was really scratching my head like, what? A long snap? This is like drafting a punter.
Yeah.
Like this was you use that for a 7th-round compensatory pick or something. You don't pick a long snapper in the 5th round. He better be on the team for 20 years.
Look,
like,
you got to make our punter happy. You got to make our Pro Bowl punter happy. You got to give him somebody with. You got to give somebody that he make sure he can get that inside the 20. All right, he has to feel protected.
What I'd love to hear from Ron one time was what was wrong with Sundberg. I mean, would you really do that?
Summer was great, man. I don't know.
That's the whole thing surprised me.
Oh no, that was weird. That was weird. Losing Sundberg was weird.
Wally, do you have a scouting report on Cheeseman?
Do I? I mean, we have a great special teams unit. Very good in terms of our punting game is awesome, which is sad because we were bad every which way around. But he was solid.
There's only one way you know how good your punting game is.
Exactly, because we were doing a lot of it. We were doing a lot of it. Okay, a lot of it, like a lot of it. So to be honest with you, I mean, he's solid. I never expect to like really focus on a long snapper. To be honest with you, I'm always on DBs and wide receivers when I'm watching my squad. But yeah, he was solid. We never had any issues in terms of punting. Our special teams was solid. So I feel like in terms of this football team, you lose Sundberg. I think he will be playing day one. I think he will be a starter in terms of that's our special teams, and he should be fine. I mean, he's a long snapper. Let's be real. He's a long snapper. Let's keep it a buck.
Just make sure the ball turned the right way when it gets
exactly. That's all you gotta do.
That's
make sure it's right, bro. Just make sure it's right.
Yeah, that was an odd pick. I don't think I've ever seen a long snapper get drafted that I can recall.
Yeah, me either.
Next pick, William Bradley King, defensive end, Baylor, 9.18 RAS score.
They're excited about this guy. Real fast, lean, edgy kind of guy. Reminds me of Smith Williams a little bit from last year, Pooh. A guy that probably got hurt and was playing out of position a little bit in Baylor. I think they probably love him and what he provides, just as 5-6 snaps a game type of guy.
I like it. I think that this is something they desperately needed. They need a speed edge rusher to back up Chase and Montez. I think it's good. It fits the whole scheme of, getting speed on the football field, speed on that team. Again, when you got guys like Deron Payne, Ionitis just on the inside, and Jonathan Allen, clogging things up in the middle, you can get an opportunity to get that one-on-one. You know what I'm saying? If you come in and get that one-on-one against a right, or probably a right tackle, and can beat him on the edge, I think it's great. I think it's just to use that speed everywhere, all the way around, especially when you're trying to rush the passer. I think it's perfect. I think this is the thing. It's about habit. Like my man said, depth. It's all about depth and having like similar roles in terms of what you have in terms of your strengths. Like you got speed rushers, you know what I'm saying? Who, I mean, obviously have power too, but you have speed rushers. You're adding another speed rusher. I think it's perfect.
Yeah. What we got?
I still think they'll bring back Kerrigan for something.
You think so?
I do.
He can come back. I mean, as long as he knows his role on this football team. Don't try to act like you're supposed to get more snaps. Don't do that.
They don't seem committed to him.
It would have been like, I think they'll do it like last year.
Because he was starting to complain.
Well, but I think he's been out there and seen what what the rest of the neighborhood looks like, and I'm not sure he's getting any more invitations to bigger parties than what he's got here. Yeah. And if I'm him, why would I go somewhere else? You know what I mean? Just when the team that you've been with is actually starting to perform kind of well. Like,
and to be a backup, though,
like
too.
You're leaving right when the party starts.
That's the thing. Is like if you're going to be a backup somewhere where you know.
Yeah, so I know,
right?
Like that's what I'm thinking. Like that was my thing. Like you want to leave, all right, then you want to start somewhere. All right, man, find a starting gig. That's cool. Right. I'm not one to knock a man for getting the bag. Like if you can get some money, I'm not going to knock you for it. But if you're going to go into a situation where it's a similar situation, you're a backup, you're getting limited snaps, then you might as well do that here.
Might as well. Come back and teach these young DNs how to be professional.
Exactly.
That's your worth at this point.
Circle of life, Lion King, circle of life.
The circle of life. Washington followed up the William Bradley King pick with another DN, Shaka Toney, Penn State, 9.47 RAS score. I actually saw he had Shaka Tony tweeted out right before he was drafted. I just need an opportunity. I think he's going to come in. I think he's undersized. I think he's going to come in hungry. Speed rusher. I think he has some injury problems. And he might surprise some folks. I think he was probably more fit for a 3-4 scheme, but I think he's going to surprise some folks because there's opportunity here, especially if Kerrigan don't come back or they don't pluck up a Justin Houston or somebody, off the free agent scrap heap. It's going to be a lot of opportunity for Bradley King and Shaka Tony.
Who was the West Virginia kid that got drafted by the Seahawks? You know who I'm talking about? He was a real lean edge rusher. That's who I've heard him compared to. For the life of me, I cannot think of his name now.
You talking about what year? You're not talking about this year. You're talking about what year?
No, 5 or 6 years ago.
From West Virginia.
When Bruce Irving.
Bruce Irving.
That's who I've heard. That's who I've heard him kind of comp to, a little undersized guy that situational pass rusher.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I like about drafting him is that he's going to be battle tested because he went against good tackles, and I mean you're going against some good tackles in the Big Ten. To be honest with you, guys are going to be playing on Sundays, so you're battle tested. You know what I mean in that regard. So you just can't go there on Saturdays and throw any moves to beat a tackle. I mean to be a tackle in the Big Ten. That's what made. I mean to me that helped the maturation process with the Chase Young, the Bosa brothers in Ohio State. Usually pass rushers and that are in a higher program in the Big Ten, they're typically capable of making plays. So what I liked about it is, okay, you pick a person who has ability because he went against good talent. Because we all know, talent going against talented dude breeds beast out there in football. So I think in this mindset, you're getting a guy that has seen talented tackles, so knows, what, I may be able to pick up a counter move or whatnot. This is how I got to beat this dude because he's seen talented dudes that are going to play on Sundays.
Absolutely. And then we have our last pick of the draft, Dax Marte Byu. He caught a ton of passes last year. He has a RAS score of 4.59.
Who was he play? Fullback?
Yeah, I think
like fullback. He has a lower RAS score.
Is he the water boy?
He's supposed to be the H-back dude or something.
His RAS score lower than the long snappers. That's not good.
Oh man,
that is not good.
That's not good,
man. Some people try to be practice squad players, man. I'm not want to knock it. To me, he's gonna try to be a practice squad player. It's gonna be desperate trying to make this team. We're gonna learn a lot about these individuals, especially the later draft picks. Training camp, preseason. We'll learn a lot about him because I don't like to personally say, okay, you're a 7th rounder, you've done this, and you may not make the football team. But once we see you in preseason, we see you in camp, we get a good indication what type of player you are. You know what I mean? Like how competitive you are. Like when we saw Jimmy, we heard the stories about Jimmy Moreland, but when we saw Jimmy Moreland on the football field in preseason, we're like, oh, he got that dog. He got that dog. Like that's you saw that. Not to say that it's gonna make you a Pro Bowler or it's gonna make you an all NFL, all first team player, but we'll know enough about some of these individuals once we see them training camp preseason.
I think the big thing that Ron and Co was going for, especially when you get down to the bottom of the draft, special teams.
Yeah, I agree.
But they believe, and if you look at some of the like Steve Sims, some of them guys on the roster, receivers, they don't play special teams.
Yeah.
And if you can't play special teams and you're not starting, you might not be here.
Steve Smith used to play special teams. He used to. And now
he used to be
I don't know he does.
Too,
he used to be able to catch.
He
used
to be able to catch. And
there's a lot of things he used to do. I don't know what happened.
Now, a lot of people think that one of the best acquisitions of the weekend, they only got one undrafted free agent.
Yeah, my God.
That kid Patterson, you see he had a game with 400 yards and 8 touchdowns in one game.
You mentioned this too about Gibson and about him being still new to the position of playing running back, and he missed a lot of holes and whatnot. I think this is a kid that if given the opportunity, can show some people. You know what I mean? We'll see if Gibson has improved. Towards the end of the season, Gibson didn't improve, so I'm not going to act like he didn't. Towards the end of the season, he improved in terms of vision and be able to cut back. I felt bad for him because he got that injury right before we saw him improving as a running back. But I think this kid, with some of the moves they made on the offensive line that we talked about, this kid, from Buffalo could do something, and he's local. You know what I mean? He's from the area, so I think
and they've
he's
been
gonna have
doing
a
that
lot
a lot too, right?
Huh?
Drafting. It's interesting. They've done a lot of that too. Draft from
Yeah,
the area, which
they
I don't
have.
recall
They
teams
have.
doing before.
And it's been, and to be honest with you, it's been good for morale for this team. I mean, you saw with Darby, him coming back home, he loved it. Fuller, Chase Young. It's been good for this team to have, homegrown guys on this football team, because they grew up watching. They know that, this area is represented, they represent Washington to the fullest in terms of football team. So I do think that it's good to have guys like that, because you're not just representing your team, you're representing your city, your area. So, and they take pride in that. So I think it's dope to have a kid like that. But on the football field, you watch some of his highlights, it's impressive. I mean, I know it's just highlights for a lot of us, because we didn't watch every game of him, but from highlights speaking, it's impressive. Like he looks the part of a real running back who has all the vision.
Darren Sproles. I just think of Darren Sproles when I think of him. So he's going to have a place somewhere.
Ray, I thought maybe they trade up for a quarterback. Were you surprised by that when they had that opportunity in the first?
I think once Trey Lance went off the board early, I think that idea was gone. I talked recently about them going quarterback in the second round. I thought that was a real possibility, but there were too many question marks. So you got your guy, like you discussed, Fitzmagic. You have all the weapons. Save the quarterback draft pick for later.
I think when Ron kept saying, I'm okay building up the rest of the team before I find that long-term quarterback. Yeah. I think we all was like, you're lying.
I believe him.
You're lying.
I believe Ron. I believe Ron.
But I was so happy that the run on quarterbacks in the second round happened before they picked. Because I didn't want Davis Mills. I didn't want Kyle Trask. I thought Kellen Mond would have been interesting, but not in the second round. So I was so excited and elated that they all went before we came up for the second round pick. I was like, thank you, Jesus. Because it's so funny. I'm interested in you guys' grades, overall grades for this draft. Because I've jumping from site to site and I'm reading, and Washington is getting pinged for not finding a quarterback of the future. And I'm like, so you're supposed to reach if you're not in position to get one of the top guys or your guy, you're supposed to reach for any old quarterback.
Yeah. That's what messes. Or see, that's the thing this is what I hate about the NFL. I hate that. Like this, I do. Quarterbacks. I mean, I get you got. It's good to have your guy when you have the guy. But now we got to a point where we reach for everything. Like teams reach for everybody. Like Cincinnati did the same thing with Finley, and then all of a sudden the next year later they draft. They had to Burrow, right? They got Burrow, but it was a reach to get Finley. It was a reach. They just felt like they were desperate to get a quarterback. You know what I mean? So I'm glad that Ron Rivera took the stance of I didn't get a guy that I'm in love with. It's all about, to me, in the draft, getting a quarterback, get a guy that you're in love with. Don't get a guy because you just need the position. You do that with other positions. You do that with other positions. But with a quarterback, you get somebody that you fall in love with, because the quarterback has so much responsibility on that offense, a unit. So you get a guy that you're in love with. If you're not in love with somebody, then don't go for it. So I loved it, man. I love that take about Ron Rivera. It's like he gets his guy, the guy he wants, regardless of what me, you, or whoever thinks. He gets who he wants. That's fine. I'd rather have that type of coach run this organization, because we haven't had that in a long time, than what we've had to deal with in the past some odd years.
That's true. It's going to be interesting. Ray, what's your grade for Washington for this draft?
I took the poll, Big Doug. I gave it a B, just like the majority. I do think in terms of the division, right? Because I think that's one of your primary goals, is to win the division. I feel like they had the best draft in terms of fit, because I want to say the Giants may have got the most talent in the draft, but in terms of fit, I feel as though Washington, they won in the division, and that's already strengthening your defense, which is the best defense in the division. And then you also have arguably the best coach in the division. So I think this is a strong draft class. I would not necessarily give it an A because of some of the head scratches that we already referenced, but in terms of your top pick, which was the most important, I think you nailed it. We knew it was going to come down to linebacker, and that's what they did, which they needed to do. Like you said, they didn't reach. So yeah, definitely. And then of course, like I said, I love Derek Forrest. I think he's going to be a key contributor down the stretch. Maybe not early in the season, but down the stretch. You strengthen a defense that was already strong, man. They're gonna ball this season. The offense won't even have as much responsibility if the defense turns out how I think it will.
What I talked about this a little bit. What do you guys think the reasonable record for next season is?
Well, it's tough because that's tough. Last season, obviously 7-9 was the record. This season, oh man, it's tough because the division sucks. I won't lie, the division does suck. You can beat the Eagles and kind of like tanked it anyway. The Giants, I don't know why we can't beat the Giants. It kills me. I would say 10-6 is reasonable. I think 10-6. 10-6 is fair. I think it could be 10-6. If things go their way, 11-5. Ray knows me years ago because being a homer, I used to say 16-0 all the time. But I'm just going to say 10-6. I'm going to say 10-6 on the safe side.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting. I told Doug, me personally, I still view this as year 2 in the rebuild. Because the division sucks. 7-9 won the division. Year 1 in the rebuild. This is year 2, so I'm probably looking at just 8-9 or 9-8 or whatever this odd.
That's right. 17 is right. That's right. There's one game, right? 17 games. Sorry, let me fix. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so
10-7.
I think it's going to be probably a 1 or 2 game improvement. Because they do have the number 1 schedule, being a division champ.
Yeah.
So, but we don't know how that's going to pan out. But I definitely see this as years 2 in the rebuild, and I think it's going to be a pretty good year. It's going to be a lot of close games. It's going to be a lot of close games, and which is good. At least we're not getting blown out, and people actually probably want to come see them play again. Them last
they
year.
averaged like 20 points a game last year, right?
I know.
The average is like 26.5.
They actually averaged that much.
Yeah, like 20. Yeah, like 20.
Yeah.
We barely got 20. We got 20. Don't shortchange us. We had like 20.
Hey, how many national TV games this season, baby?
Please, I don't want none, man.
I bet you they actually get a good amount this year.
I know, that's a shame. We're doing so
Chase
good.
Young is
the league loves
TV.
Chase Young.
I know. We're doing so well without them, though. We're doing so well without them.
And
why do we need them?
That's a fan right there. He's scared. He's scared, man.
Yeah, scared. You're right. I am scared.
Don't forget, Fitzpatrick just pushed close to 5,000 yards per season if you add them together, the last 2 or 3. So that Miami team was going into the playoffs.
I agree.
Pulled Fitzpatrick.
No, I'm with you.
I think they're gonna get 2. I think they're gonna get two games. 2. Yeah, they're definitely gonna get a Thanksgiving game again. They normally do.
We do
Cowboys. And then they're gonna give them a Monday night game this year.
Please.
They're gonna give them
that
one.
game.
They're gonna give them one.
It's
a new day. It's a new day.
I'm sorry. I got battle scars
game.
with that, bro. I got battle scars. It's not. It just hurts.
Listen, I remember.
Man.
That's the game. I remember for that game. I was in LA, and I was, the game starts 3 hours earlier, so I was like, I'm gonna go to this bar and watch the game. And I pulled up probably about 10 minutes after the game started, and I saw we was down 2 touchdowns already. Yeah. I didn't even want to order anything. I just wanted to turn around and leave.
That was like the massacre. That was like the massacre of FedEx. I'll never get that game day of my life.
PTSD, baby.
I know, man. It's crazy.
LaRon Landry.
I know. That's my man. LaRon was my man. Oh, I'll never forget that. I will never forget that.
LaRon Landry, the defensive version of David Boston. He was built just like David Boston.
Yes, he was. Facts.
Big Papa Pump, baby. Yes.
Holla if you hear me.
Brandon Jacobs ran him over, and it was it. That was it for him.
Well, fellas, man, we appreciate y'all coming on, doing the rundown with us today. Please let the people know where they can find you, Twitter, Instagram, what you have coming up next, and so forth and so on.
Yeah, thank you for having us on. We appreciate it. You can follow me on Twitter, at Wole_USS. Also, you can follow the Urban Sports Scene handle at Urban Sports Scene. We have an Urban Sports Scene podcast, which covers up all the sports teams in the DMV, We have our live show every Tuesday at 8:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Just hit us up at www.urbansportscene.com to check us out. And we're also part of Empire Media. So we trying to rotate, do big things, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah. If you haven't checked them out, this was just a little bit of fun compared to what the fellas are doing over there on their show. Huge fun. They're always having a good time. I love the show.
We got to get you back to talk Wizards play in.
That's right.
That's my thing
right.
right there.
Okay.
They beat my Lakers already, man. My Lakers trash right now.
LeBron's big mad about the play-in.
He should though. It's stupid. I've always said the playing game was stupid, but he's mad now. But I've always said the playing game was stupid.
It's not stupid for what the league wants. They want competition from the time the season starts to the time the season ends. And this provides, it's only probably about 2 or 3 teams that are tanking.
Man,
Houston.
Yeah, I know they tanking.
Cleveland.
OKC, baby.
OKC, they tanking.
But everybody else is they're within reach, so it breeds a different.
But it's like you're not valuing the season. Like a 10th seed is can get into the postseason. I'm like,
if you notice, the only players / teams that talk trash about the play-in are ones that weren't near the play-in, but now they're slipped. That happened with Dallas and Mark Cuban and Luka. Now it's happening with LeBron. When y'all was 3, 4, 2.
I've always talked about it.
With nobody.
I've always talked about
LeBron
it.
had nothing to say about a play-in when he was in that top 6.
Now, I'm not gonna speak for him because I know. I mean, LeBron. I know Ray and I talked about it. And I was like, I don't even get this. I don't even get this crap.
No, it is a bit confusing. But when you think about COVID and the quick turnaround, and guys were injured, like Russ wasn't himself to start the season. I feel like it's only fair to allow teams that maybe they started off slow due to injuries, due to the quick turnaround, to get an opportunity at the end. Look at what that did last season, the bubble for Phoenix. Phoenix ball, they almost got in there.
Yeah, they shouldn't have either. But I enjoy watching Phoenix though.
A similar scenario.
I know because you're a Wizards fan. So it defeats the purpose. The Wizards running in, you wouldn't have.
I'm the man, baby.
You're a Wizards fan, so that's why you're doing that. I don't even want to. You're like LeBron. You're like LeBron on the flip side. Like I don't want to hear that.
Man, fellas, we appreciate y'all, man. Thank y'all. Look, can't wait to have y'all on again, and y'all have a good one.
Thank you. We appreciate it,
brother.
That's a date. All right.
All right.